Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Aaliyah Schneckenberger, and I support mid-market content at Intuit. We've got an exciting webinar for you today highlighting Charlie Watkins, CFO of OneAscent. He's going to be sharing his experience with Intuit Enterprise Suite, and he's been an IES customer for a little over a year now, and much of his journey will likely resonate with where you are all at in your growth journeys. We are also joined by my colleague, Scott Ottman, who is going to ask all the hard-hitting questions and facilitate the discussion. This should be a very dynamic and interesting session. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to let Scott and Charlie introduce themselves now. Charlie, take it away.
Hey, Aaliyah, thank you. Yes, I'm Charlie Watkins, and I serve as Chief Financial Officer for OneAscent. OneAscent is a financial services and asset management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama. We're structured as a unified family of companies whose core focus is equipping financial advisors, individual investors, and institutions with tools and resources needed to align their investments with their personal values and convictions. Serving as CFO, I oversee financial strategy and governance for all corporate entities up under OneAscent.
All right, thanks, Charlie. My name is Scott Ottman, and I'm Senior Manager of Mid-Market Content at Intuit. And I focus particularly on webinars, and I'm excited to have Charlie here today and get to the questions. So let's get started. All right, Charlie. So explain a little bit about the systems and the tools that you were using at your company before you decided to go with Intuit Enterprise Suite.
Yes, prior to IES, we relied a lot on a combination of spreadsheets, literally a lot of spreadsheets backed by a lower cost forecasting software tool that we used to consolidate with. We would plan and generate our management reports. Again, a lot of manual work. And in short, we just had basic rudimentary tools that required a good bit of time and manpower to maintain.
And how long were you using those tools that you were kind of piecemealing together?
Well, as the company was in a growth phase, it wasn't so bad when volume was down, and at the time we were operating maybe about 3 entities. Today we're up to 8. But as we got up to 8 entities, I just knew that we were going to need to make a change.
And so what were the challenges that you started to face that were sort of, like you said, Charlie, like building up over time? How would you describe them, or what would you like to share about those?
Yeah, sure. Well, we've struggled with siloed data and manual reporting that can really take hours to create and maintain. I feel like in today's business and finance world, we don't have time for that anymore, right? We need to work more efficiently using integrated tools like IES was able to provide. They can give us real-time insights and efficient reporting tools that gives not just us on the finance team, but also management, financial insights, and access to metrics and key results. We were also looking for tech-forward companies, AI-ready platforms that allow for continuous planning, and it really helped us be more proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah, that's great. And so what would you say was the tipping point, Charlie, for you and your company, where you finally decided we need to make a move, and you decided to move into an enterprise suite?
Yeah, the tipping point for me was number one on the consolidation piece. So we run a holdings company with 7 sub-companies up underneath that. And we needed a flexible accounting platform that I could easily do that. If I need to compare companies A and C to D and E, I need to be able to do that on the fly or look at everything together. So I needed first a system that needed to do that. We were also struggling with we have some complex journal entries, needed the ability to upload those, which IAS provided through a functionality called Spreadsheet Sync, or at least that's how we use the software. Intercompany transactions. Again, we have a holdings entity. Things hit that entity instead of having to go to each entity and enter those journal entries separately. Being able to do that out of a centralized location, which IAS was able to accommodate. Running a true centralized chart of accounts, and even being able to consolidate data like vendor management. We use similar vendors between all our sub companies, and being able to search and look at that history from a centralized platform. Those were the main drivers that I was looking for when we made a change.
Great. And when we talked before, Charlie, you mentioned that you guys had gotten to a place where you thought you were going to have to leave QuickBooks to move to another tool before you found out about IES. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We were thinking that, and actually looked at some other platforms, and then realized that IES existed. Again, we were early adopters,
Right.
so it was fairly new at the time. But as I started vetting out the functionality that came with IES, and also the cost, moving to these other ERP systems, there's cost in having the systems themselves,
Right.
and but also the time on our team to think about that implementation process. We were looking at 2 to 3 month implementation. Where IES, I believe the team was able to flip a switch in the background, and next time I logged in, everything was there. That was huge. In that, one, we didn't want to pay for an expensive implementation, but more
Right.
important than the cost was the time factor, and that was one thing that Intuit eliminated.
Right. So, I mean, in some ways, you've already hit on this. Is there anything else you want to talk about the implementation and the transition, or did you basically already feel like you covered enough right there? Anything else for those that are watching?
Well, I think I covered everything, but just to reiterate again, leading a finance team and knowing, having been through this in the past, having to change accounting systems is not something any of us look forward to. So,
Right.
the ease of that for a user that's already in the QuickBooks environment, and that
Right.
being able to everything transition over, was a huge benefit to us.
Right. And so you didn't need any additional training that you might have needed with other platforms, other ERP platforms, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, there's some little differences in the system, very minor, that anybody
Right.
that's used to using accounting software tools can pick up very quickly.
So, since you've made the change to Intuit Enterprise Suite, could you describe a little bit for all of us how that change has been, how it's impacted those things that you talked about earlier, and maybe even things that you hadn't mentioned that you've noticed the impact on?
Yeah, I think a big impact for us was moving to a truly connected financial and operational ecosystem, where data would flow seamlessly throughout the different departments and platforms. It has given us real-time visibility, more consistent reporting, which leads to more informed decision making, and it allows both the finance and the operation team, as well as our leadership, to work from a single source of truth. A lot of times, the problems you have when you're using multiple systems and manual spreadsheets is that consistency of that data.
Right.
So running out of a singular platform is huge, and having a single source of truth there. And it's again, I can't reiterate enough on how much it's reduced a lot of the manual work that our team is having to conduct. And really, from my seat, just to sum it all up, it's helped accelerate the decision making process.
On that point, Charlie, do you end up using the user permissions the way that you're able to get other people access to different parts of Intuit Enterprise Suite while still retaining control, or only giving them access to that particular position or person?
Yes, absolutely. That's something important, especially as we grow and we're adding additional team members to the accounting staff. Um, that there's a ton of flexibility with and permission control on users. So if we have somebody that's just really focused on payables, that's the part of the system they need to see and don't have to have the full control. Maybe one of my senior accountants or a controller would have.
Is there a value in being able to give maybe certain leaders that don't really need to go into the weeds, but to get to see a high level view of the financial information? Is there a benefit in IES that provides that, or ways without overwhelming team members? Is there anything you could speak to about that?
The way we work as a team, there's a lot of cross training, cross function. So some of that's pretty similar, but as teams grow, it's important to, I guess, from a governance standpoint, to have that segregation of duty, which IES allows for that.
So let's take a little bit of time here as we get towards the end, Charlie, and just talk about the concepts of reactive versus preventative finance, and how those have been applied or resonate before moving to Intuit Enterprise Suite and or after.
Yes, it has become more and more important as as institutions grow. We get busier as leaders. To me, predictive finance means using advanced analytics and integrated systems, and even the AI-driven tools to help forecast our outcomes. Intuit has baked in artificial intelligence, and I know we're at the front end of that, but I don't. I'm not scared of it. I believe that's something that we really need to dive into as leaders and adopt. It's here. It's here to stay. It makes us smarter. We use it in IES a good bit. We can bake out what's going on. I think it's a value, especially to non-financial leaders, management in evaluating financials, where the AI that's built in will highlight, gives a little indicator as to things that may need to have their attention. From the finance side, we integrate the AI to validate what we're doing. So just even something as basic as variance analysis, and using the process when we conduct our close process to evaluate that we didn't miss something that maybe was there a month or two before that's not there now. We can actually ask the AI those questions, and it will analyze revenue and expense history, and let us know if there's something that's not showing up, or even maybe a shift that we may not have recognized. It's just an additional tool. You have to use it as a tool. It's not going to replace the human need to do that analysis ourselves, but it definitely helps in the process and speed up the process a little bit.
That's great. And so it's kind of like another set of eyes to take a look at the data and another perspective to kind of add to the conversation, I guess you could call it. Is that an accurate way to describe it, the way you use it?
Exactly. And it's one of those tools that's just going to get better and better. In today's technology world, it's not who's using AI, whether they're using it or not, it's how they're using it. So to me, it's a big benefit to know we're associated with a company that does adopt the new technology and continues to pour research and technology into that, and continues to grow that into their product.
Right. Yeah. And I love that you talked about not replacing, right? But it's really that enhancement tool for people that really want to lean into that, or the people that might be a little apprehensive. They can kind of, dip their toe in it in the more passive ways. And then, have the other people that might want to go into the deep end and just really dig in deep with the AI and really help it and test, letting it enhance the capabilities that they and their team currently have.
That's right. It's there. You're not forced to use it, but it's there for those of us that want to embrace it.
Is there anything else today, Charlie, that we touched on or didn't touch on that you wanted to add more to before we come to a close?
Yeah, I don't think so. I just appreciate the time and I think the other thing I guess that I'll highlight that I've being that I was an earlier adopter of IES that I really appreciate is the continued enhancement that I've seen with IES. There's additional functionality we always want to see, especially in a growing company, and it seems like IES is foreseeing some of those things because with each release, there's just more and more features. Some of them I don't even realize that we could use, but when they're there, you really appreciate. So you want to be with a software company that's going to continue to adopt the research and technology to enhance their product.
Great. Yeah. And, just want to thank you today for your time, Charlie, and just to have somebody that is coming from the customer perspective, speaking about Intuit Enterprise Suite is really a benefit for us, but it's a benefit for all of the others that are listening, that are also customers and or considering becoming a customer, to just hear really how you've experienced it from very early on usage when the product was very new all the way until now. So it's been a huge help for us. So thank you so much, Charlie.
Oh, you're welcome, Scott. Thank you.
Aaliyah, we're going to pass it back to you.
And thanks to you both. I mean, I can't reiterate it enough. Thanks again, Charlie and Scott, for facilitating. And thanks all of you for being with us today. We hope you learned something and found value in the discussion. We've definitely just scratched the surface on how Intuit Enterprise Suite can help you overcome challenges that your business may be facing. And if you'd like to learn more and talk with a live expert, note the URL below and make sure you let them know that you came from this webinar. Thanks again for your time and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.